All right, everyone, welcome back. You know how we love to dig into the stuff you send us, and this one, wow, this one is a gold mine.
Yeah, I can agree. This 13.txt you all sent in, it's got some seriously good advice for anyone looking to, move up in the world.
Climb that corporate ladder, as they say. But it's funny because 13.txt doesn't even really use that phrase.
It's more about like figuring out where you actually want to go.
Yeah, having a destination in mind. Right.
Exactly, not just like blindly scrambling upwards.
That's such a good point. Like,
Yeah.
so often we hear this talk about ambition and hustle, but without a clear goal, it's kind of like running on a treadmill.
You're moving, but are you getting anywhere? And 13.txt actually cited this study. I thought this was fascinating. People with clear career goals were way more likely to get promoted.
Wait, seriously? Like, how much more likely? Spill the tea.
Hold on, let me find it. Okay, yeah. 42% more likely to get a promotion within a year.
Whoa, 42%. Okay, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's significant.
So, lesson one, folks, ditch the vague, I want to be successful, and get specific.
Right, like actually picture yourself 5 years from now. What's your job title? What kind of company are you at? What are you doing day to day?
And 13.txt takes it even further, right?
Mhm.
They talk about mapping this out not just for 5 years, but 10, even 15.
Yep, they're all about those long-term visions. But here's the key. They don't want you to get overwhelmed. So they suggest breaking it down into those smaller milestones. Like, what can you achieve this year that'll move you closer to that 5-year goal?
Okay, so it's like setting those mini destinations on your career GPS to make sure you're on the right track. But even with the best route planned, you got to have the right vehicle, right? In this case, that's skills.
Totally. And 13.txt actually gets kind of geeky here, but in a good way. They talk about this idea of T-shaped skills.
Ooh, T-shaped skills. I like it. Lay it on me.
So the vertical part of the T, that's your deep expertise in, well, whatever you do. If you're a coder, that's your mastery of specific programming languages. If you're a marketer, it's knowing your SEO inside and out.
Got it. So that's basically be awesome at something. But what's the horizontal part of the T then?
That's where those all-important soft skills come in. Communication, teamwork, problem solving, all that good stuff. And the thing is, these are universal no matter your field.
Right. No matter how technically skilled you are, if you can't communicate your ideas effectively, work well with a team, or think on your feet, it's going to hold you back.
Exactly. 13.txt actually makes a really strong point about how those soft skills help you not only apply your expertise effectively, but also lead others. Because at the end of the day, nobody works in a vacuum.
True that.
Hmm.
Any tips from 13.txt on actually boosting these skills, though?
Yeah.
Because it's easy to say, oh, yeah, improve your communication. But how do we actually do that?
Well, for one, they're big on continuous learning. Online courses are obviously a good option, but they also suggest finding a skill buddy.
A skill buddy, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a workout buddy, but for, professional development. Someone to practice with, someone to hold you accountable.
I love that. Actually, that's something I've tried myself. And it's surprisingly effective. Having someone to bounce ideas off of, or even just to keep you motivated to stick with a learning plan,
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference. Okay, so we've got our goals mapped out. We're working on our T-shaped skills, but, and let's be real here, sometimes it really is about who you know, right?
13.txt goes there. Yep. They had a whole section on the importance of connections.
Which can feel a little icky, I gotta admit. Like, networking can sometimes feel forced, you know?
Oh, for sure. But 13.txt actually frames it less about schmoozing and more about building genuine relationships.
I can get behind that, quality over quantity.
Exactly. Now, attending industry events is still good. They mentioned that, but they highlighted this other thing, informational interviews.
Yeah, those are kind of like low-pressure coffee chats, right?
Right. You're not asking for a job, but you're reaching out to people in your field, people whose careers you admire, and you're just asking them about their path, their insights, stuff you can't really find on a resume.
I see. So it's kind of like a sneaky way to both build your network and your knowledge base at the same time.
Exactly. Two birds, one stone.
I love a good efficiency hack. And they also touched on mentorship, right? Finding someone more experienced to kind of guide you.
Yep. And this was interesting. They actually suggested having several mentors.
Wait, like a whole mentorship squad?
Yeah, because different people have different strengths. You might have one mentor who's great for technical advice, another who's a whiz at career strategy, and maybe even one who's completely outside your field, just to give you those fresh perspectives.
Well, I like that. Different mentors for different areas of your life. Okay, so we've got our goals, our skills, our network of awesome people. But 13.txt didn't want us to just sit back and passively wait for success to fall into our laps, did they? There was that whole bit about taking initiative.
Oh, yeah, they were big on that. And they had this phrase I loved: be a problem solver, not a problem stater. Because, let's face it, anyone can point out issues.
Oh, totally.
But offering solutions, that shows you're thinking ahead, you're taking ownership.
So don't just complain about that clunky process, suggest a better one.
Exactly. And they also pointed out that it doesn't have to be some huge company-wide thing. Even small wins count, like streamlining a meeting agenda or finding a way to save the team time on a recurring task. Those show initiative too.
Right. It's all about those little micro victories. But here's the thing, right? You could be rocking it at work, solving problems left and right, but if no one notices,
Good point.
does it even count
Yeah.
as playing? But 13.txt does get into some, shall we say, packful self-promotion.
They called it managing your narrative, which, okay, it sounds a little buzzwordy.
It does, a bit.
But the idea is you don't want to be that person who's constantly bragging, but you do want to make sure your contributions are visible.
Right, because you deserve credit for your hard work.
Exactly. And they had some really practical advice for this too, like keeping a running document of your achievements, key metrics, even positive feedback from clients or colleagues. So when it comes time for performance reviews or, salary negotiations.
I've got the receipts.
You got it.
Love it. Okay, but even when we're crushing it, there's always room to improve, right? And 13.txt was really big on seeking feedback.
Yeah, they actually went beyond just like getting feedback from your boss. They were advocating for 360-degree feedback.
So that means getting input from your peers, people you manage if you're in a leadership role, even clients or customers.
Exactly. It gives you this well-rounded view of how you're perceived, where your strengths are, and, well, where you might have some blind spots.
Okay, I can see how that'd be super useful,
Oh.
but also kind of scary, honestly, to get feedback from everyone like that. Did 13.txt have any tips on actually handling that, like emotionally?
They did. They said be specific in your asks instead of just saying, hey, how am I doing? Which is so broad,
It is, and kind of intimidating.
Right. They suggested asking things like, what could I have done differently in that presentation? Or what's one thing I could focus on to improve my client communication? So it's more focused, less open-ended.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah.
Turning it into a concrete action item makes it way less scary. Okay, so we're getting feedback, we're honing our skills, we're taking initiative. But are we making sure all of this is aimed in the right direction? Because 13.txt also emphasized aligning yourself with the company's goals.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's about understanding the bigger picture, where the company is headed, what their priorities are, and then figuring out how your work contributes to that.
So it's not just about climbing your ladder, but making sure that ladder is leaning against the right wall, so to speak.
Exactly. It shows you're a team player, that you care about the company's success, not just your own advancement.
And I feel like that ties into their point about visibility, right? It's not enough to just do the work. You got to make sure the right people know about it.
For sure. And they were really clear that this is about showcasing your work ethically,
Not in a braggy or manipulative way.
Right. So their suggestions were things like finding ways to share your knowledge. Maybe that's writing a blog post about a successful project, or presenting at a company meeting, or mentoring a junior colleague.
Right. It's about positioning yourself as a thought leader,
Yeah,
not just a task doer.
exactly.
And then 13.txt's wrapped up with a section on leadership, which honestly I thought was kind of only for, like, execs and managers.
Yeah, I think we have this image of leadership as being all about like title and authority.
Right. The CEO in the corner office.
But 13.txt really broadened that definition. They said leadership is about influence, not title. It's about taking ownership, inspiring others, championing good ideas, even if they're not yours originally.
So you can be a leader at any level of an organization.
Absolutely. It's about stepping up, showing you care about more than just your own tasks, and being willing to lift other people up.
I dig it. 13.txt's really delivered a masterclass in getting ahead, huh? So much good stuff in there.
It really did.
Yeah.
And the thing that maybe resonated most with me was their emphasis on the long game. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about building a career and a life,
Ooh, yeah.
That's truly fulfilling. And a big part of that is figuring out what your values are and finding a path that aligns with those.
Yes. And, even if the corporate ladder isn't your ultimate goal, so many of these strategies are applicable no matter what path you choose, whether you're an entrepreneur, a freelancer, or whatever.
Couldn't agree more. So I'm curious, for everyone listening, what jumped out at you? What are you going to implement first? Let us know in the comments.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.